bizarre from the way that I lived my life. But you know, from an early age, I was took to the gym with my dad. That's where I started to box from. My dad's sitting here. He's the reason I was a boxer. My brother was a boxer. My uncle was a boxer, and I'm going to be a boxer. But boxing is such a hard sport that it's you've got to put a lot of dedication into it. And that's what I did. I just started off with my early fights. First of all, I just hanged around the gym till I was old enough to fight. And from the age, from Amateur Boxing Association rules, you're not allowed to fight till you're 11. So, I had my first fight when I was 11 years of age, and I just carried on. I just carried on then all the way through the schoolboys, winning mostly everything. Winning the schoolboy championships, the junior championships, the National Association of Boys Clubs and stuff like that. My school weight was never no good. I never wanted to get to school, to be honest. But I was fighting at school as well. I was cock of the school when I was in the third year. I was known as a scrapper, a reputation as a, that sort of stuff. I had loads of fights on the street as well. Like I was known as a hard kid, to be honest. It just went with the territory, went with what I did. Who I was, and I was the sort of guy, if somebody looked at me the wrong way, they'd have a slap up the mouth. I was that sort of a character. But I carried on through the amateur career. The schoolboys, juniors, up until teenage years. Then I was asked to box for England, which was for any boxer to represent your country is a great achievement. And I did that a few times with great success. I boxed in Germany. I boxed in Bulgaria. I boxed some really good lads. I boxed the world amateur champion Raymond Garby from Cuba. He was the world number one. I fought on the Wednesday, and I fought him on the Thursday. I knocked the Bulgarian guy out on the Wednesday, and then I fought him, Raymond Garby, on the very next day, on the Thursday. But I think my best performance I ever done is when my dad's sitting there. I was going to Germany. I was captain of the team. There was me, Robin Reed, and a load of lads, and Gary Delaney, and a few of the lads. Billy Shearer, and some good fighters in the team. And I got to tell you about this because it was 1988. I was 18 years of age, and I was fighting there, captain as well. So, and he was a good lad. He was a good boxer, to be honest. But before I left, my dad being my coach, he knew my best strengths. He knew I could hit hard. He knew I was tough. I could take a punch. I don't mind taking a punch to land a punch, to be honest. And before I left for Germany, my dad said, Andy, he says, let him feel the strength here, the first round. He says, put it on him in the first round. And when I got to Germany, we done all the national anthems, swap flags, all our tracksuits in the ring, done all the parades, done all the stuff, and I looked at him like, because you look him up and down and that, and I looked at him like, and he was very tall, very rangy, like, and he looked like, he could box, box a bit, looked up. But I take none of that. And when I got in the ring for the start of the contest, for the first bell, the England coach, he said to me, he said, Andy, he said, don't throw all your aces in the first round. He says, this guy's a good lad. He said, feel him out. He says, feel him out. He says, let him, he said, don't throw all your aces in the first round. I looked across the ring at him, and I looked at him, and he don't look as strong as me. I thought, yeah, I'm going to do what my dad said, So as soon as the first bell went, I rushed out, and I just put it on him, non-stop barrage punches. And, I knocked him out in the first round. I stopped him in his own corner. He just sunk in a heap, and I just, just put my hands up, And it was just, that feeling, just to you know, do that for your country and everything. You know, it was just amazing. I was so ecstatic. I think that was probably my best ever performance, you know. But let me just, also, while I was doing this as well, I got the taste for alcohol. I got the taste for drinking. You know, I was just like any other normal teenager. You know, I used to just celebrate my fights. I just used to celebrate my fights with, you know, with having a drink after. You know, and that's where the alcohol problem came from. To be honest, it was never a problem then. It was just like anybody else growing up, you know, and that's it. You know, that was great. I boxed for England that many times. I decided to go professional at a young age. I went professional just after my 19th birthday, you know, and within 3 years I was boxing for the British Middleweight title. And I had so many setbacks, like cuts around the eyes and stuff like that, but I still managed to get there in 3 years. Because like when you lose on a cut eye, I lost a few fights with a ref stop contest where you get a cut and then you've got to start again. You've got to build your wins up again, you know. And that's you know, to lose on a cut when you've lost to somebody who ain't as good as you, but it goes down as a loss on your record, you know. But I managed to get up to the British Middleweight title in 3 years, you know, as a professional, which is pretty good. And the fight was live on BBC One on Sports Night. It was watched by millions. BBC One, you know. I thought, yeah, I'm on Medit here now. You know, it was great. You know, it was really good, to be honest. And when Harry Carpenter sat me down to interview me as well, I went, you know what I mean, Harry, you know, because of the Frank Bruno thing, ain't it? You know. But I loved it. I loved everything. What went with boxing. You know, a couple of lads here. You know, I've come up from Eastbourne. You know, boxers. You know, it's just once boxing's in your blood, it's such a, you know, it's hard to explain. It's just you can't pack it in. It's just like gives you a bug, and it's. Well, I mean, when you're sitting in the dressing room waiting to go out, you think all sorts. Why am I doing this? You know, what am I doing in this situation? But when it's all over, it's the best feeling in the world, and I think that's why we just keep going back towards it, you know, and that's how it was. But the British Middleweight title fight, what can I say? The weighing on the day did me no good because, you know, I mean, they've changed that now. The rules have changed by Professional Boxing Board of Control have changed it because you know, people get weight drained and it takes your strength out of you, which that's what it did for me. You know, making the weight on the day, then fighting on the night. That's what it did for me. I was weak, you know, but I get a good account of myself against Neville Browns. He was a good fighter. He was one of the best amateurs England have ever produced, and he was also a well-rated fighter. You know, so I was for a British title. I was fighting a well-rated fighter. So if I'd have had to just fight somebody normal British standard, I'd have probably won it. Like, you know, but having to fight a well-rated fighter who was only beat by Steve Collins, you know, if you know your boxing, you know, so you know, it wasn't too bad. To be honest, it wasn't a bad. You know, it wasn't a bad. You know, it was a good effort. Even though I lost on a cut eye. You know, he pulled me out that day after 7. It was too, you know, I couldn't have gone on. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, it was pretty bad, and it was bleeding bad, to be honest. Yeah, some people have got Steve Oldsworth from the Boxing News. Got me in from Eurosport. Someone got me behind, but you know, have you got that clip, Kelvin? You want to put that on just so people can just have a little watch of some of the stuff. Enjoy that. I'm still working on it. I've got a few more things to add to it, but so yeah, you know, this boxing, you know, it's in my blood. I loved it, you know, I loved everything, and I just fought for the British Middleweight title, and then like, you know, everything was like I got the world at my feet. To be honest, I was boxing for Mickey Duff, who was like the #1 promoter, and then like I was had offers from Matchroom. And how I managed to get to Matchroom was I had an offer to go and spar with Chris Eubank while he was on his world tour. Chris Eubank, we all know, like was a really good world champion, you know. And I went along to Brighton to spar with him. The first week I got there, he he was all right. Eubank was. He didn't stand no messing about like with a. He tried to put it on you. He tested you. So like I got there the first day. He was like shadow boxing in the ring. Like you have to just get changed and get in the ring. Which is really intimidating stuff for anybody who knows anything. You know what I mean? And I just got changed, got in the ring, and just sparred 6 rounds straight off. And he tried to take me out to see whether I could cope or not. But like I said, nobody ever knocked me out. Nobody ever would. You know what I mean? But he tried, and he couldn't. And I'd done the first week on my own before they brought any other sparring partners in. And I liked it. But Chris Eubank said to Barry Hearn that Andy Flute's the best sparring partner I've ever had. He said he'll be a world champion. So Barry Hearn come down to the gym to watch us spar. And Chris Eubank being Chris Eubank, we come down to watch his spar. And Barry Hearn comes down in his limousine and his stuff and all, and we get in the ring to spar like that. And Chris Eubank don't throw a punch. Do you know what I mean? He's just that sort of guy, ain't he? Like, what I mean? Expected me to force it, But so I didn't throw a punch either. You know what I mean? So I stood back as well because I thought, what he's trying to do? He's trying to draw me in, like, But he was a character, you know what I mean? And we got on well. And I was sparring partner for nearly all of his fights. But while I was sparring partner for all of his fights, I was drinking every night. After the training, I don't make no excuses. Look, I did what I did. I don't say, I'd have been a world champion if I did this and I did that. I did what I did, and I enjoyed what I did at the time. But the drink, it didn't affect me then that much. It was like I could still spar with Chris, hold my own, and go out and drink every night and stay out till 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and live that sort of life. And then get up in the morning, I'd run to the pier, run back down, have my breakfast, get in bed, shower, and then back for sparring. And I could do it. It was I could do it because I was young. The other sparring partners, what was coming into camp, they was just getting beat up and sent home on the first. A lot of them, about 4 or 5 of them, come in on the first day and they got sent home. They just couldn't cope because he used to put it on you because if you can't cope, you get somebody what can. And it was tough. It was tough, but I enjoyed every bit of it, to be honest. And then I was sparring part for Nigel Benn. That was another good experience. Nigel Benn didn't spar lightly either. He was the same. It was they don't hold back. It was just full out. It was just like a fight with a guard on. That was all it was. And I was asked to go and spar with Joe Kalzaki as well. And that was the same. I'd done that on my own as well. You normally need 2 or 3 guys to keep getting in and out. But what they try and do, they try and cut back on expenses and money and and wages and that. So they try and cut the sparring partners down. I remember once I went to spar with Henry Wharton, who was a former world title challenger. He lost to Eubank and he lost to Ben. And I went to Leeds and I just jumped in my car, drove up to Leeds, jumped out of the car, got to the gym, got changed and got straight in the ring with him. And I was more than holding me on with him, like. And then they showed me to my hotel. Then the next day, I done the same with him again, and I was getting the better of him. So and then the next time I sparred, I held back a little bit because I thought I'm gonna think I'm trying to take the mick here, like. But then when we got downstairs to go and weigh in, like after training, I noticed that he was like a few pound over the weight, 7 pound over. So I thought he's going to struggle to bring his weight down and spar with me. So they come up with an excuse that he'd hurt his shoulder, And but I knew the real reason that he was struggling with me, to be honest. And they tried to fob me off and say, Henry's hurt his shoulder, you can't spar. So they tried to cut back on the money, but I got, and they only want to pay me for what I'd done. But I got on the phone to Mickey Duff and I said, look, I've come here. And you've got to pay me for the whole week, which I did. I got the money, you know what I mean. But that's how it was with sparring. When you're a sparring partner as well, you can't let them push it about. You can't let them use you, and you're there to do a job, and that's how it was. I was there to do a job, and I did my job well. And if they don't pay me or whatever, I made sure that I got it, and that went on like that for a few years. I sparred with I sparred with that many people. I've got a bit of a list here of some of the because some of the lads I sparred with. It's these lads here on the front will know being boxers like either fought them or sparred them, you know, and like it's. I mean, the first world champion I did was Raymond Garby from Cuba. You know, then there's like Joe Calzacchi, Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, Robin Reed. I fought him at short notice. Richie Woodall, I sparred with him. His dad pulled him out. I was too much for him. Marcus Bayer, I lost on points to him in Austria, but when I sparred with him in Cologne, I knocked him out. Seven Odka, he was busy, but I won the first round of the fight, and then they took the points off me. Chris Poyet, he was a good fighter. Glenn Catley, I fought him at a week's notice. Norbert Niroba, I don't rate him at all. You know, I just took the fight at short notice. You know, and all these like world championships. You know, championship level, the highest you can get. You know, them proper good names, and like the title challengers like Henry Wharton, Errol Graham, Neville Brown, Levky Keski, Daniel Haussler. You know, I mean them lads. You know, you're boxing. You know what I mean? And I just used to turn up and just go. You know, I mean, I'm here to spar, or I'd fight him. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, that I was just fearless. I was just absolutely fearless. You know, and I did all this while I was still dabbling with the drink. You know, I really did, because, you know, I used to think I was invincible and I could do everything. You know, I was thinking I'm that, you know, cocksure of myself. People used to say I was arrogant. People used to say I was, you know, cocky a bit. You know, but I think that. You had to have that sort of mentality when you're doing that sort of job. What I was doing, you know, boxing was my job. You know, it was my career. You know, but you know, I mean, on there, it looked great, but behind the scenes and all the stuff what goes on with it, you know, it's if you don't get the right notice for a fight, or if you don't get the right manager, you don't get the right thing. Oh, there's that much stuff what goes on, you know, and there's lots of fighters what ain't as good as yourself, what win titles and get better, but it's just the way the look of the draw goes sometimes. You know, that's just the way it goes. But I mean, it looked all great on there, but really behind the scenes, I was shadowboxing with alcoholism. You know, I really was. You know, I just liked the taste, you know, that drinking did. I liked the light night. I liked going out. I liked the partying style, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, I started taking cocaine as well so I could stay out longer, you know, and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, and for a few years, I was able to control it. You know, I was in control of my drinking. I just used, you know, I thought I could beat it myself. I thought I was okay, you know. And sort of like when my career comes to an end sort of thing, you know. You know, the drinking is getting out of hand a bit. You know, it's getting from like being a social drinker to a binge drinker. Then it's becoming into like a problem drinker. And then it got to the stage where, you know, I was a problem drinker, and every time I went out, I was getting in all sorts of scrapes and things. It starts off just steady, like, you know, just smashing your car up, stuff like that, getting out, run off, fighting. I got stabbed 3 times in the back while I was street fighting, all sorts, fell over, and, you know, all sorts of things happened to me. I got run over, you know, all sorts. I broke my back. I walked, you know, once I fell through a roof, drunk, and I was walking around for 2 weeks with a broken back. You know, I was just drunk and oblivious just for 2 weeks. I was just walking around, just drunk for 2 weeks. That's because as I fell through the roof and broke my back, I never felt the pain because I was that drunk. You know, and, they put me, the ambulance come and put a mask on me, and, you know, this was in Tenerife, this was, you know, and then as soon as the back was turned, I was up, boom, out, I was off, so I could go and get a drink, you know, and that's how it did. Even my dad come over to try and talk some sense into me and everything, but it was no good. I couldn't get none of it, you know. It was no good. I was left there. The girl locked me in an apartment for me to sober me up. You know, it was that bad. Like I was, you know, once it had got out of me, once I'd started on that, you know, it was the 10th drink or the 20th drink. I learnt this now. You know, it was the first drink. What did he? You know, because once you're an alcoholic, you know, there's no operation or there ain't nothing what can change you. You know, you know, and you don't get to become an alcoholic by, you you know, you ain't born being an alcoholic. You know, it comes by just keeping on drinking. And it's when your body's had a psychological and a physical change, and there's no operation what can put it right. But you put that one drink in you, that's it. It sets you off. It sets a chemical off in your body called acetone, and that acetone sets you off where you can't stop. And that's how it was. That's how it got me. You know, and you know, I went through that many things. I remember my dad coming to my house once. You know, my dad's been my trainer. He's like my best mate. He's my trainer. He's been through all my fights. He's been through everything. And he couldn't understand, you know, what was happening with me, you know. And I remember he says, "You're going out this house, and come down to my own house," you know, and he locked me in the house, you know. But as soon as his back was turned, I went straight out the bedroom window and jumped out the bedroom window with no shoes and socks on and just run off to go and get a drink, you know. That's how bad it was. You know what I mean? That's how bad it was. And then I could, you know, the only time I'd managed to stop is my own body had stopped me. I'd physically drink that much till I could not move, till I could not drink anymore, you know. And that's how it got, you know. And that went on. I went like that for years. And every time I had a drink, it was like a breakdown. So in no matter of time at all, I'd gone from being a local hero to being a local drunk, if you don't understand what I mean. You know, and that is absolutely, you know, it's demoralising. And then to get locked up all the while, you know, the police was at the arse all the while, you know, and then to go into prison sentences. I went to prison in 2011, 2012, 2013, you know, so like I fell a great height, you know what I mean? And I lost my family, I lost my wife, you know, who I'd been together with. Still a bit raw, that is. You know, I lost my wife. I'd been together from the age of 12. And, you know, my children, they said, "Daddy, stop drinking." And I said, okay, I'll try. But you know what? I couldn't do it. Even for my youngest daughter, I couldn't do it. You know, sorry, it's all right. It's still a bit raw, you know what I mean? And I couldn't, you know, I just couldn't. But, you know, I kept trying to beat it in my own strength, and I kept trying. I thought, you know, maybe I've always been a, you know, tough bloke, hard bloke, you know, fighter. I thought, I'll sort this out, you know. And my sister Beverly, I said, "Will you come to Alcoholics Anonymous with me?" I said, "Come to AA," and you know, and I said, and I just went with an open mind today. You know, I don't want to be told what to do on a day, you know. And I sat in the meeting with the alcoholics, and I listened to their story, you know, and what they all shared and spoke. I don't know what to expect when I got there. And I thought, I ain't as bad as them. You know, if I was as bad as them, I'd stop, you know. And I don't really take much notice. But they talked about a higher power, you know. They talked about a higher power. And I just think, higher power, what's that about, you know? And that, you know, but something stuck with me from then. But I go again for quite a bit. But when I went back again, when I did go back again, I was as bad as, or as worse than all the people in the room. My story was worse. I'd done this and done that and lost this and lost that, you know. And it got to the stage where I was just sat in a room just drinking bottle after Jack Daniels after Jack Daniels. And I'd be sick into a pint glass and I'd drink the sick just because it was pure alcohol, you know. That's how bad it was. You know what I mean? It was just that you know, to see somebody who was like such a strong fighter, you know, boxer, tough bloke, you know what I mean? To get to like a shivering alcoholic wreck, do you know what I mean? It was, you know, it was destroying for me dad. It broke his heart, you know what I mean? It really broke his heart. And all the people around me and that, you know, but and this book, you know, I started writing this book 6 years ago, you know, this book. I never, you know, I was broken and I was addicted and, you know, and this book just come around by my girlfriend just started to try and self-help myself, you know, because, you know, I was a shivering, broken wreck. And they said, just try and start writing some of the world champions you've been in the ring with, because that's the man you are, you know. not this broken alcoholic drug addict wreck. Because when I used to take the drugs as well, I'd sniff a whole gram of cocaine up one nostril, then I'd sniff tequila up the other nostril. You know, I'd got to do everything to the extreme. When I used to take the crack cocaine, I'd do $1,000 a day. I blew 150 grand in no time. All the money that I made and all the stuff that I did, I'd done really, really well. I had houses, property abroad, everything, all sorts of houses, everything. It was all went because of my addictions. You know, it was just absolutely destroying for the people to be around you to see, you know, and that's how bad it was. And I thought I could, you know, try and I kept having some bits of sobriety, some relapses, some this, some that, you know, and it just absolutely destroyed me. And then I thought the only way out of this is just out. I just got to kill myself because I can't go on no more. I can't go on. And you know, I used to hold the Bible and just, because they talked of a higher power, I used to hold the Bible and go to sleep, like try and just lie there, just holding. And I used to think to myself, if I don't get better, I'm just going to kill myself. Because I felt at ease, like to get out of the pain, that there was a way out, You know, that's how I felt. I thought, you know, there's a way out of this. I ain't got to keep going through this. And you know, the one day I'd been on a drinking session, and I tried. I just took enough tablets, just enough to kill an elephant, and I just, you know, that was it. I'd had enough. I couldn't cope no more. I was crying. I was thinking of my children. I was thinking of everything, all the stuff that had happened. You know, all the stuff that had gone on in my life, and you know what I had and what I'd lost, and what I'd become, and you know, and everything else. And I just wasn't thinking straight. I was just totally gone, deluded by drinking, drugs, and everything, and. You know, obviously everything was just on top of me too much, and I can still pitch, like still feel the pain from that, you know. And anyway, you know, I tried that, and you know that really. I was found. Angela found me, and I woke up in the hospital, and they pumped a solution into my arm, what saved my life. They pumped a solution to stop the tablets and all the stuff killing me. But even the crisis team spoke to me, and you know, they says, look, you know, we've got, more or less, it says, you want to stop wasting our time, and that really put me off, like put me on a bit of a, you know. So what did I do? I went straight out of the hospital and started drinking again as soon as I just come out of that, you know. And you know, I was really in such, you know, like I says on there, I was in hell. This is a boxer's journey from hell to Christianity. You know, I'm telling you, I was in hell, and I tell you, you know, I just carried on with that, with Alcoholics Anonymous, trying to relapse, bit of sobriety, relapse. The only time I could get sober, like I said, was when I drunk that much that I couldn't physically stop no more, physically take any more, and I used to have to just stay in the house because somebody like me, I was that scared to go out the house. I was that scared, and like I just used to stay in the same clothes for 2 weeks, never washed, never shaved, never nothing. It was just that bad. You know what I mean? It was destroying, man. And my head was just in such a mess, you know. And you know, I managed to, you know, go back to AA a couple of times, and like this higher power thing had stuck in my mind, you know, because I just thought, you know, I just kept thinking, I've got to try and, you know, we're back on. Oh, that's better, ain't it? But yeah, I carried on with this Alcoholics Anonymous, and this higher power thing stuck in my mind. You know, and this I carried on. I was told I'd got to do 90 meetings in 90 days. You know, I did that. You know, I relapsed a couple of times. I did that again a couple of times, and I remember once managing to do 6 months sobriety. I'd done 6 months. You know, and I thought, I've cracked it. I'm all right. You know. I thought, I'm all right now, you know. And somebody pushed a drink my way, and that was it. I was off again. That was it. And the binge lasted for nearly a month, you know. I think I drank about 80 bottles of wine on that one session, about 80 bottles of wine. You know, and that's how much it was. You know, I went to Bushy Fields. You know, I went to see psychiatrists. I went absolutely everywhere, you know, to try and get over this, you know. And for the time, you know, I thought I was getting better. But, you know, that old devil is on your shoulder, all the while going, have a drink. You know, he was there all the while saying, "Have a drink." You know, and so and that's what happened. So it'd be another relapse again, another relapse, another relapse. And my last drink, got to tell you this, my last drink was on 28th of 28th of October 2015, because I'd gone to a boxing event as a guest, and somebody pushed a drink my way, and that drink lasted for nearly 2 weeks. That drink lasted for nearly 2 weeks, and that was the same. I was stuck in the house, and I was just drinking, bottle after bottle after bottle after bottle, and just, it was that bad. My Mrs. Angela didn't know what to do. I found John Crampton and Steve from Sedgley Church to come and pray for me, and I was that bad. I was on death's door again, again. How many times I was on death's door? How many times have I pulled back from near-death experiences? From being stabbed, from being run over, from being broken back. That many times I nearly lost my life. You know what I mean? And this was the same. This was the same. But they prayed for me, and then they left. And then I remember just dropping on my knees and just saying to God, "God, if you're real, if you're real and you take my addictions away from me, I'll follow you for the rest of my life." And then that's what he did. That's what he did. I never had another drink again. That is the truth. And that day was the 28th of October, 2015. And then not long after that, I got baptised. John Crampton organised a baptism for me. And the baptism was the best day of my life. It was the best thing I ever did. And this tattoo on my arm here, 2 Corinthians 5:17-18, a new creation. That is what it made me. That baptism made me a new creation. And I'll tell you, all the old's gone and the new is here. And that's me, And that devil what was on my shoulder, that's just gone. That's just been totally lifted away. That's just totally gone, And I go around the country now, talking everywhere. It's nothing I did. It's what God did. I didn't do anything. I didn't ask for none of this. All I wanted to do was stop drinking. And with a book named Jesus in my corner, he's permitted that book to be there. I'm going on Gospel TV, TBN. It's all what he did. Yesterday I was in Stoke-on-Trent. Last week I was in West Ham. I'm just before Christmas in Edinburgh. God's just using me so much, but I done a talk the other week about some other addicts, and they says, "How come God's answered your prayers and He ain't answered mine?" And I just said to him, I says, "Your heart's got to be right." I says, when I asked Him into my life, and I asked Him to be my Lord and Saviour, and I'll follow Him for the rest of my life, He knew I meant it. He knew I meant it. You know what I mean? So if anybody's here who wants the same thing as what I've got, to just mean it. I said to the guy, the drug addict, I says, "You need to change your prayers and change your heart." I said, because if you're still sitting on the fence and thinking that you're dabbling and thinking you ain't, you can't. I said, you can't trick God. There ain't no tricking Him. You know what I mean? I said he sees into your heart and He sees into your actions. And sees everything. He's here now with us now. He's here now. And I just want to encourage everybody to just. God didn't save me because I'm a boxer. He didn't save me because of that. He saved me because my heart's right. God's got a purpose for all of us in this room, every single one of us. Every single one of us, God can use every single one of us. There's no favoritism with being a Christian, with Christianity. There's none at all. We're all equal. You know what I mean? God loves every single one of us. And I want to just encourage you today to just, if you're going through anything, or, you ain't got to be an addict, you can have a perfect life, but I'll tell you, it's better with God in it. It's better with Jesus in it. You know what I mean? And and this story is just, there's nothing, like, God is my source now of everything. I'd keep Him first place. And I used to watch TBN and listen to Joel Osteen, and he used to say, "Keep God first place. He'll take you places more than you could get yourself." When I first started watching that, I used to think it's sold something in my mind, and that's what's happening with me, and that can happen with anybody. We're all equal in God's eyes. But I hope you got something from that. And if anybody wants a book, them £10. There's more to it. There, I wrote the book myself. I don't know ghostwriter. I wrote it myself, just crying half the time and just putting words, and it turned into a book. I believe God wrote the book for me. Jesus definitely, he helped me write that book. You know what I mean? It's reached so many people. I've had people send me messages ladies who've bought mothers who've bought the book for their sons, and the sons have been healed. They've stopped drinking and they've stopped taking drugs by reading that book. And there's a prayer in the back of that book, and all you got to do is just say that prayer and mean it, and then you're saved. That's all you got to do. You know what I mean? And you know what? People pay thousands and thousands of millions of pounds for rehabs all around the world. You know what? This is free. This is absolutely free. All you got to do is just get your heart right and just commit to God. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Andy Flute.